What's happening, guys? Steve Mayeda with the TSL podcast, and today we have an awesome guest. This podcast blew me away when you get me talking about sex with somebody else who loves sex, like John Litchenberg. You get some cool stuff. And what he's into erotic dominance. Also, he calls it Kink. You might hear about it as BDSM or whatever. But what he is doing is he is really revolutionizing the way that this is taught and presented to people, and we talk about that here. In fact, if you're interested in going to his seminars, I would say they're definitely worth it. It's a pretty amazing experience. 3 days. You work with women hands-on. I mean, it's everything a guy would need to learn about sex and the expression of sexuality. Also, we do these podcasts to promote the message of TSL, which is basically we want you to express yourself. You look at who you are as a person and cultivate that and become the better man. Express that to the world. That's what this is all about. If that's something you're into, check out the Better Man's Guide to Dating and Relationships. That's one of our products. It's exactly what it says it is, and it's amazing. It will break down how you can come from any walk of life, express yourself, and be the better man. This is what it's all about. Enjoy the podcast. This one is awesome. You are going to hear some cool stories and get introduced to a great guy, John Litchenberg. Here we go. What's happening? We're recording live. Yeah, man. Dude, I am very excited for this. This is one of those podcasts where it just came together and fell into, I guess, our laps or whatever. But you started, we've known each other, but the sad thing about this industry that's so bizarre is that you get to know people, but you don't always get to know exactly what they do. And then when you find out what they do, it's like fucking awesome. So you have this awesome thing coming up that is, you basically teach people live where they work with women, like men who may not have any experience, who work with women on dominance. And wait. You talked to me about it earlier, and you had an amazing, I love it, because this is what I kind of voice about sex, and people misinterpret it in all these ways. But when people come, like, how would you describe what you do?
Okay, so I came from the world of kink, and when I got into it in a really funny way. My girlfriend's mom was a pro dom, and at the time I had a lot of rage, and I was working on managing my anger, and I was doing all this meditation, taking Aikido. I had spent the summer in the Buddhist temple in San Francisco. I was like, I'm going to be calm. She, was listening to the conversation. She's like, I came to her house for the first time, and she's like, I'd like to help you. I think I could help you out with that. I'm like, sure. What do you got in mind? She's like, I'd like you to try something. Do you trust me? I'm like, sure. Yeah, I'll trust you. And so she takes me downstairs into her dungeon, like this full equipped dungeon. Which is, I'd like to try some bondage on.
So many people have not experienced a dungeon. What is this? Because when I think of a dungeon, actually, I have a story about some of this stuff.
Okay, go tell me.
Yeah, well, man, I don't want to interrupt you. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about
We're on a tangent, man. It's all good.
Okay, which you'll get a lot with me. Man, this is one of the craziest stories, and I don't tell it all the time. But I was 21, and I'm 36 now. It's a lot that's happened between now and then. And I was always like kind of crazy. I could be angry too, a lot of issues with that. And I was living on Maui, and I flew to Oahu. My brother was going to school there. I probably shouldn't say this. I'll get him in trouble. It actually doesn't have anything bad to do with him, but he introduced me to some of his friends who are grad students, and they were all like these crazy people, and they went to all these clubs afterwards. They're like, you are the crazy brother. They're from Sweden. They're like, we're going to take you to this place called the Dungeon. It was this like crazy goth club in Hawaii. And man, this is kind of a long story. I'll make it quick, but
dude, take your time.
There was this amazing, she was so hot. I had no experience with women. I had none. I had like I was just afraid at this point because my first sexual experience was kind of fucked up. And this girl was unbelievable. I did what every guy does. I followed her around. It's like dance with. She's doing the cool stuff there. I'm wearing like jeans and a t-shirt. Everybody's all like, fucking Marilyn Manson out. Yeah, totally. And man, I just don't fit in. And I'm like, how do I talk to this girl? Okay, I'll just stand here. I'll go over here. Da, da, da. And what happened was we got really fucked up. We got really wasted. Like there was a lot of use of probably some illegal substances, and they were just like, Steve, you're the crazy Mayeda. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. You're going on the Iron Cross. And they had these like little whipping stations where they like lightly but it was really for show. So anyway,
Andrew's crosses.
They probably should say. But anyway, so they get me like signed in to this line. And I'm like, I'll do it, but I'm really not going to do it because you have to get naked. And, I'm kind of okay with being naked, but there's like Japanese tourists with video cameras there. So, oh man, it was awesome. So basically I get on this, I'm about to get on, and then I like turn away and I'm like, I need to go get a Red Bull or whatever. And my brother wasn't even there. My brother's friend like pulls me and he's like, it's your turn. You're going. And I'm like, okay. So I take off my shirt. I don't take off my pants, and they start the whipping thing. And then like I just fucking lost my shit. I got crazy, and I was like, fuck this. I'm like, fuck, that fucking hurts. I got like crazy, man. I just remember because on the cross there's like these.
There's cuffs. Yeah, you're tied in, right? Yeah.
Well, they weren't tight. So I took them off, fucking pulled down my pants, threw them out. I mean, I was like, I somehow got the adrenaline feel. I was on that thing for 45 minutes, and guess what? And I'm like talking trash the whole time, and my brother's friend.
You can't hurt me. Blah, blah, blah.
It was awesome. But the best this is the best of the story, and this is like, this kind of sums it all up of where my fears were at and who I was as a person, all that sort of stuff. I'm kind of the star of the little area, and there were a lot of these booths, but this was the main one. And then the chick that I was following around all night comes up and gets in front of me, and I'm like, you can't do whatever to me, like I'm like totally fucked up out of my mind just on endorphins alone, right?
Oh yeah.
And so she takes these like clamps and fucking puts them on my fucking junk, and I was still able to talk shit back. And she's like, okay, and she was Russian. This was the best part. She's like, okay, you think you're tough? You're tough. You come up into the rooms with me afterwards. And she gave me this pass. She put it around my neck, and I was like, holy shit, the hottest girl in this whole club,
circle, baby.
Yeah. So I get off that thing. I'm like, everybody's like, wow, yeah. And they pretty much kicked me off. They're like, dude, we have like a long line of people. You've been on here forever. So I go up to these little rooms, and I, look in, and there are all these people fucking. Like, it was awesome. Yeah. Like, you don't see shit like this. And I'm like, oh, and I got scared and I left. I got fucking freaked out. I pussied out. I was like the most badass motherfucker. And sexually, I was like, totally afraid. Anyway.
No, dude. So for me, my introduction to kink was my girlfriend's mom, Olivia, and she, like I said, she's pro-dom, right? So she's pro-dom, she's a swinger, she's all this stuff. And I come to this house, I'm meeting her mom for the first time, and her mom's fucking hot. And she's like, I think, I can help you. So takes me downstairs and puts me up between these two posts, and then, I'm tied up, right? Mm-hmm. And she comes up behind me and she's like, okay, so express your anger. I'm like, what the hell does that mean, right? She's like, express your anger. And then I'm like, ah. And then she started pushing buttons and, just nudging the right way. And I, at that time, was still easily triggered. So I just started yelling and screaming and raging and going nuts, right? And it's crazy because I lost my shit, and I just kept going and going and going and just screaming and yelling. And finally, like towards the end, I'm like out of wind, out of breath, like just spent, hanging, like panting. And she's like, okay, so I want you to notice you didn't hurt anybody. How do you feel?
Yeah.
I was like, I felt at ease. I felt spent. I felt calm. And wait, I didn't hurt anybody. And, she got me off the chains and, sat me down and did some talking with me and got me grounded. And she's like, you want to do it again? And I'm like, yes. And we did it, for like 5 times in a row. And then she's, after that, several of those sessions, it started getting more intense. She was like binding me up into mummification, like in my body, like wrapped in a bag. So I'm like compressed. And the idea was to put me in my body. And then she started doing these like journeys with me, like visualization journeys with mask on my face. And she got me to recognize all the places where I was triggered and where my pain came from, my anger came from, and started getting me to recognize where I didn't allow myself self-control. And that was huge, man. That was freaking huge. So I chose to submit to her in her household, because like her household was a household. Like people came and went service there. It was like, this is deep into the pool stuff, right? So I submitted to her for 2 years, did 2 years of service. And the whole time I was there, you know, I got to learn about myself, learn about dominance, learn about submission, really understand the dynamics of it all. Got to see, you know, and she threw these parties, right? So I'm in service to her at these parties. So I get to see all these other DOMs there with their subs and their players, and I get to see all these different ways people do dominance. There's not one way to do dominance. And I started learning, like, the DOMs had all the fun. You know, they're the one creating the experience. They're the ones setting up the tone and the space of things. They're the ones that like are orchestrating and directing everything. But they're doing it for themselves and for the people they're playing with. So there's like a reciprocity going on, a collaboration, you know. So when I left service, I went back home to Fresno.
Was that where you're from?
Yeah. Well, I was born from Houston, actually, and I grew up in Fresno. Yeah. So
do you know where the Forestery Gardens are?
Yeah. Totally, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Hey, a lot of people don't know. So,
oh, dude. Yeah.
That's like the coolest story about. Well, I don't know about that. You're the coolest story about Fresno.
Thank you. So when I went back to Fresno, I'm like, it's kind of like the Bible Belt of California. I don't know if you realize it's so intense, and I, you know, just came from that world of kink. So how do you like talk to other people about kink, you know, and orgies and open relationships and poly, and you know, poly's a new word, you know. And
well, like, yeah. I mean,
like, you know, so like, how do you do that? And so I come up to these girls in the club, and I'm just scaring them off because I'm just too intimidating with all of this, like, you know, let me tell you up, let me spank you, let me do these things, you know. And it was freaking, you know, it wasn't working. So I had to stop and reevaluate. It's like, okay, there's got to be a better way. So, you know, I was attractive, still am, and, you know, but I was really smoking hot then. I was a big old bodybuilder boy, and it was easy to get girls' attention, but I wanted to have them be more about me than my body, and I wanted them to play with the kinkier stuff. So I had to find a way to woo and seduce them with flirtation and eroticism, you know, seduction and all that. So bring that in, and then kind of creep in the kink, you know, creep in the fetishy stuff, really subtle, but pushing all those edges that they love, you know, because they like being scared, they like being on edge and playing and being a dirty little girl and being naughty, you know. It's like, yeah, you know, they don't want to talk about it in public, but at home in the bedroom, yeah, let's get dirty.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, and then there's like, oh, you're willing to do this in the back of the bar? You're willing to do this out in the car? You're willing to do this in the woods? You're willing to do this here? Like, oh my God, you're crazy, right?
I love it.
So I wound up incorporating it over time, and I didn't realize that it happened until, you know, 95, 96, when doing the raves in LA and San Francisco, and my friends grabs me by the arm. He's like, dude, before you go in there, we gotta talk. And I'm like, well, what? You're gonna go in there in that chill space, and you know, you're gonna find your spot, and all of a sudden you're gonna have all the girls all over you, and you're gonna be creating all this sexual play, and what are you doing that I'm not? And in that moment, it was like, what are you talking about? You know? And so I hit him with the, like, don't you see it? And he was like, no. And I'm like, okay, let me explain the lay of the land here. And I showed him how, like, girls, what they do, the subtle cues they give you, like you're reading into the experience, right? Stuff to me that seems second nature because of dominance, you know? It's like when I'm playing with a woman, I've got to look for her visual cues, I got to look for her nonverbal cues as well as her verbal cues. And I got to be tuned in. So the only way I could convey that to him was be aware of your environment. So that became like the buzzword for like 3 years. Be aware of your environment. It meant everything. And then I just wound up, you know, helping him, and then helping our other friends. And then, you know, I've always had open relationships, and I've only had 2 that were monogamous, and those really sucked. And and so I started helping my friends be able to open up their relationships, creating play parties, creating orgies, creating scenes that weren't kinky, but were kinky, and really blending it all together. And then one year, another friend shows up to us, and it's me and Jerry, and he's like, "Hey, I want to ask you guys to do something at my party for my birthday, for my 40th. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, what do you want?" And he's like, "I want you to be as evil as you can be." And I'm like, "Dude, come on. I can be evil. Like, how do you want?" He's like, "I want really evil." I'm like, "All right. I can bring a cross and a kneeler and a flogger and paddles and da-da-da-da-da." And he's like, "You know what, John? I trust you. Do it." And I'm like,
wow.
I didn't have that shit.
Oh, really?
But so I go home and I built a cross and I built a kneeler and I drove it up to the Bay Area, and I had my toy bag that hadn't made it to the parties yet. And I've been throwing these parties. We threw like big raves back then.
Yeah.
And so the toy bag shows up and we go. So I go to this party and all the doors are off on all the rooms, bathrooms included, right? No doors. So when you come in, there's a main room, all the couches, and you look immediately, and there's a bedroom. And so I set up the cross so you can see it right there. And I set up the kneeler so you can see it right there from the couches. Then I went up to the hottest girl there, and I'm like, "So, do you like Thud or Sting?" And she's like, "I don't know." "Well, let's find out." So I took her in there. And I go, "I need to actually use your body to make sure these are the right sizes and the chains in the right spot. Can you help me with that?" And she's like, "Absolutely." So I get her on it, I get her naked, and I wind up spanking and flogging and paddling and, using the vibrators on her. And then, so that led to the other girls being interested. And then I just started coming out and going like this. And they give me their hand, and I'd walk them in and ask them buzz or sting or thud. And so they're like, buzz and thud, or buzz and sting. And, then it'd be like, so I had all these girls naked on the party in my room. And I was on fire, man. I was on fire. So the problem is that our friends, they don't let you get off the hook once you're seen, right? Like once you out yourself about something, they're like, don't hold back. So I got outed. And then shortly after that, within 6 months, a good friend of mine arranged for a bunch of the men to go to a course in San Francisco by Cleo Dubois. And she's like this pro dom, been like a woman for like 20-something years, right? She's big. And so they're like, he's like, "Dude, the guys will go if you go. So will you go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And I'm like, "Let's do this thing." So I sign up, and then all the guys sign up, and we go do it. And we're sitting there in the workshop, and I'm just kind of like, like I knew everything already, right? And so she's like, "John, you seem like you know everything already. You've done this before?" I'm like, "Yes." So we have a talk during the break, and she's like, "Help me with your friends." And I'm like, "Sure." So I helped co-lead this workshop with her, and then after helping co-lead the workshop, she asked me if I would be interested in doing a couples workshop because she hadn't done one yet, and I'm like, "Yeah." So I wound up co-leading this couples workshops with her, and that was awesome. But what I learned about leading is I've never led before. I've never done a workshop before. I always help guys at like the bar or at the rave or whatever, or at a party. And the energy drops, that kind of thing. I'm just let's get, But she would have one or two volunteers at the party, at her workshop, and we would have the students practice one by one on the girl. And so I'm like, this is cool, but it breaks up the flow, and it just didn't seem right for me. And there was also other things I learned that I would have done differently. So I started doing my own workshops. She and I are still very close, and I send people to her when they want more advanced, really hardcore stuff and training. So I send them to her, and so I started doing my workshops, and that was about 7 years ago. So 7 years. Wow. Okay, yeah. So 7 years ago, and that's how I got started. And the way, so to talk about the workshop, It's 20 guys in the room and 20 volunteers. And I bring in other DOMs or other people that are lifestyle in some way who I respect, you know, people that are good at rope or good at, you know, something. And that way, the reason is so that when you're in the room, you get to see the different styles of dominance. And so the workshop is about you learning your 4 personal styles of dominance and learning how to negotiate in a way that's sexy. When I say negotiation, I'm more referring to, you know, having probing, fun, playful questions that find out her turn-ons and her kinks and things that she's scared to do and might be interested in trying to do and hasn't done with anybody else, you know, and so that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then once you have that lay of the land, then the thing to do next is create a fantasy, right? So I give you a fantasy creation formula, which allows you to, you know, replicate anytime, anywhere, a fantasy for anybody who you've got something on it. You know, if you've got some a little piece of how to get going, this will help you do it. So you got a regular formula. And so Friday is all about talking about safety, negotiation, how to set up the container, because what I teach is about consent and about creating safe containers. And what I mean by a safe container is you want to create an experience where they feel safe enough with you to feel unsafe and play in ways that are scary. So if they trust you and they feel safe, they're going to do shit that they wouldn't have done before. They're going to go to those darker, scarier, fun, edgier places. So, yeah. So that's what happens on Friday. So negotiation, container, and safety stuff. And we also talk about the girls' boundaries and what the girls are up to, what they're there for, what they won't do. And there's no penetration at the workshop. But
damn it.
I know, damn. That's the advanced course. But there is hands-on. So you can do anything your dirty little mind can come up with that you can get her consent for. So that's a pretty broad space.
Yeah.
And the girls already have boundaries. So they're going to communicate their boundaries to the guys, right? So the guys are going to know. And then, all right, if you can get her topless, get her topless. If you can get her naked, get her naked. If you can get her, if you can flog her, if you can spank her, if you can tie her up, if you can put nipple clamps on her, which, you know, that's the idea, is to be able to learn how to do these things in a fun way. Boom. So Saturday is all about figuring out your 4 dominant styles in the morning. So we have those honed and locked in. And then once we know what your 4 different styles are of dominance, then we go and we play with them, you know, because there's exercises all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Like every time I add a layer of information, you get up and you work with the girls. And you know, I'll tell you, create an outcome. So have her feel off balance. Go. You got 5 minutes. And then I'll tell them what to do. Then they got to make her feel off balance, right? So then they engage her, they get her consent, they do this thing. And when it's done, there's feedback. And the feedback is on a scale of 1 to 10. So it's like, it's a calibration. You know, it's not, well, if you've done this, if you've done that, if you touch me this way or done that way, that's just bullshit. You know, that doesn't help you. That's helping her and making you work towards her happiness. I want you to be able to feel into your partner, re-engage that, and make adjustments. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how dominant were you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how connected were you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how turned on was she? Because it's erotic dominance, right? Mm-hmm. So she gives you her feedback, switch, new girl, same exercise, same feedback, switch, same exercise, same feedback, sit down, new layer. And then more exercises, more feedback, new layer. More exercises, more feedback, new layer. And it goes 3 times every time for the exercise with the girls. So you are going to get to tone, you know, to calibrate and hone and work on your style of dominance, right? It's not me telling you how to be dominant. It's not me telling you how to be you. It's you figuring it out for yourself, right? So that's what happens. And then, so Saturday, we figure out your 4 styles of dominance, and then we work on the fantasy creation stuff. And we apply your 4 different styles to fantasies. On Sunday, it's just drill day. Drill, 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 drill. Fantasy after fantasy after fantasy after fantasy. And then we stop early on Sunday, and then you get to go and have dinner and talk to whoever's in your own life and bring them back to the space because we're having a party. And space you get to do with them, what you've been practicing all weekend. So it's 10 to 10 on Friday, 10 to 10 on Saturday,
wow,
and 10 to 7 on Sunday. It's a lot, right?
Wow.
We do dinner breaks. We do lunch and dinner breaks. And let's see, what am I forgetting here? I know I'm forgetting more stuff. Oh, yeah, the things that you learn. We do primers on pulling hair, because there's a right way to do it that will, like, if you get her hair just right, she will just instinctively melt. She'll just be like, which is like, that's what you want, right? You want to go to just melt your arms, right? So there's a way to pull hair properly to do that. We teach you how to choke, because so many fuckers are doing it wrong out there, and it's scary and dangerous, man. There's a way to choke a girl right that you will have her trust so deep, and she will go so deep with you, and she'll be so turned on, and man, yeah. So we teach you how to do that properly. We teach you how to spank an ass properly, because there is definitely a fucking wrong way to spank an ass. And don't be that guy. And I teach you some impact play. So I'm going to bring floggers, and I'm going to bring paddles, and I'm going to bring crops there. And you learn how to use those properly, and learn how to use them in a way that's sexy and has her turned on. It's scary and edgy stuff, right? So you're really spiking her turn on and spiking that space for her. And depending upon the girls and what they consent to this weekend, because I haven't got all the girls lined up, but depending on the girls, potentially we'll do nipple clamps, and potentially we'll play with hot wax. So the kind of things that, you know, are scary and edgy but fun and turn people on. And, you know, maybe some other stuff, little secret but fun stuff. And rope. Teach you how to use rope. And how to tie a girl up properly, and how to make her feel sexy, and how to do it in a way that's very safe. Because all the stuff about what we're going to teach you, you need to learn how to do it safely, and you need to learn correctly, and you need to learn how to do it in a way where she feels that she can just relax into it and trust you and feel guided by you. And that's what we teach. And so bondage play. And because I'm doing it in a house, we're doing it in real life situations. We're doing it in a mansion, right? So there's couches, and there's bedrooms, and there's stairwells, and there's countertops and tables and great surface areas to play on, right? So yeah, so the idea is real life practical experience. So teach you how to do this stuff in real settings that you won't be going, now, where do I find a cross or a kneeler, and how do I get her, you know? Right? So bend her over something fun. And the cool thing about it is these women are here to help you. Like, they know this is lab time, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
They know you're going to fuck up. They know you're going to make mistakes. And they're going to love you while you're doing it. You know, they are holding the space for you to practice. Because, dude, there is nothing more embarrassing than being, and I've been this guy, where you're putting the nipple clamp on, you know, and you're like, you're so caught up into right here, and you forgot the body. There's this person, and you're like trying to, you know, and you're fucking around. And, like, you know, right?
Yeah.
No, fuck that. So yeah, the idea is to like practice, learn, girl after girl after girl. You're gonna learn how to communicate with them, how to keep their headspace where you want it, how to keep the turn on going. You're gonna learn all these things. And the women that are in the room, they're just going to be patient and understanding and caring, and, you know, like they're there to not be good little subs, though. You know, they're not just going to do it because they're there. If you don't entice them with a nice, fun way of doing shit, they're going to go, no. And so that's the best part, though. That's the juicy stuff, because now that gives you the opportunity to, like, figure out why. Not like, why won't you do this? But no, like, oh, what is it about that you don't want to do? What's scary about that? Is it because it might not be the whole thing? It could just be one part, right? So, oh, I'm curious. What was it that you were intimidated by or didn't feel comfortable with? Oh, well, blah, 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 blah. Oh, cool. So if I were to do it this way, and maybe not quite take you to that edge, but get a little bit closer, you can play. And of course, the girls are going to want to play, right? The girls are like, yeah, they want to see you succeed. So it's all about teaching these guys how to use their words powerfully, speak clearly, ask for what they want, come from their wants, come from their turn on, be centered, be dominant, and enticing and seductive. And Yeah. So does that answer your questions?
Yeah. Well, actually, what I want to know, because I forget how you worded it when we were talking, but guys that come into this, I mean, they can have no experience and get all this experience, and I can totally see it. You know, when you're interacting with a woman, multiple women, getting feedback and have a safe place, you're exploring a part of your sexuality that you haven't, I mean, that you may have been afraid to or whatever, for whatever reasons, you have an opportunity.
Never thought you could try, right?
What happens to these guys? Because I imagine, I mean, sex can change someone's life. That's my whole thing. So what do you see these guys do in this experience?
Oh, wow, man. Holy cow. Okay, so I can't give names because it's confidential space. But I had this one guy from Santa Cruz, right? He's a cool cat. But when he came in the room, he was this very hippy-dippy, new agey, pink and chewy, you know, soft in the middle kind of guy. And none of the girls wanted jack to do with him. Because he was just like, you push him in the center, and he goes, really? You know, like there was nothing solid there. And he didn't know how to ask for anything. He didn't know how to demand anything. He didn't know how to be okay with his own turn on. He didn't know how to be okay. Yeah, I mean, he was so demasculated. Yeah, emasculated. He was so emasculated that he was just, he couldn't operate. And so during the workshop, I stopped him and took him aside, and we created some really edgy archetypes and for him to play with, and then we gave him some really powerful dominant styles to play with, and man, he was on fire, dude. Like, he was the shit, and the women loved playing with him because he was like, boom, he was on it. And he just made a big transition. There's another guy who is this tech guy in San Jose, little Asian guy, very, 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 very Japanese, the youngest Japanese.
That might actually make him better.
Yeah, my brother would agree with you too. He's half Japanese.
Yeah, I'm half Japanese as well.
Yeah, right.
I know.
So he was very quiet, grew up in a very traditional Japanese family, and was not assertive because, just wasn't assertive. And man, once he popped his cap and became like out of the box, because in the room, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to let your bullshit get in the way because we're too busy doing exercises. We're too busy doing new shit. You have to engage. You don't have time to sit there and process and think about how you would have or should have or family or blah, 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 blah. Dude, there's none of that. Dude, we're in the doing factor. So all the acclimation and all the processing that, you could talk about for years gets done quick. Like, there's no need to process.
That's where all the insecurities hang out. I mean, that's where all the doubt and fear and stuff that gets in the way. Because, see, it's so interesting what you're talking about. I mean, when you were talking about the 3-day process, and I think it was like on the first or second day or something, it just made me think, like, what is so weird and odd about sex in our culture is that people aren't allowed to feel it. And so they don't realize that there's a sexual mind, that thinks different, that is totally, I mean, your emotions, your mentality, your physicality, completely different, and that they try and make rules for sex that are out of the logical social mind, and it fucks everything up.
It fucks everything up. Especially when you are, like, I love using the phrase according to whom, right? Because I do have to use this in the room sometimes, because they're like, well, isn't it supposed to be like this? And aren't we supposed to do that? And shouldn't we be like this? And I'll ask them, well, according to whom? And they're like, I'm like, well, there's someone in your head who's talking. Who is that voice? Is that you? Is it your parents? Is it your church? Who is it? Come on, tell me who it is so we can figure out according to whom, so I can tell you if it applies to the space right now. Because if it's somebody that doesn't have any room being in the space, then they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so the according to whom thing is huge. I do a lot of NLP in my teaching, but it's not overt, and I try very hard not to, like, I'm not going to reprogram you. You're going to reprogram you.
Yeah.
You're going to figure this shit out for yourself. And that's the thing, is, like, I learned early on, I don't want to make clones of me, because it doesn't do the world any good.
Totally. Yeah. 100% agree.
Totally.
You can keep going with that thought, by the way. But I totally agree with you, man. And that's one of the, like, when the sad thing is I think in the whole industry of self-improvement, and especially when it comes to sex, is people have models. And it's like, be like this model, be like this archetype. And man, you might need that reference point at one point, but you need to learn how to be yourself, because that shit in you is awesome. It's what makes you realize we're all the same, you know, what makes us unite in so many ways. But that, when you were talking about those sexual urges, in fact, when you talked about your first sexual experience, you were saying, you know, all this stuff came out. You know, I think you had said anger, but like all this, you know, stuff came out. And you were like, fuck. And I remember when that, you know, my first sexual experience was when I was 18, and my girlfriend had gotten kidnapped, she had gotten raped, this horrible experience, but it fucked with my head. So in between, so that was 18, and then 21 is when I'm being whipped on. I hadn't had sex that whole time, and that's why when I went upstairs I was freaked out. I like ran, I was like, oh shit, let me just act cool, because all my friends, or my brother's friends, think I'm cool now. But I felt like horrible, because I was terrified. I was terrified. And then when I started having sex, these thoughts came out, like in porn. This was, so when that all happened, that was 1999, when you know, I was on the cross and all that sort of stuff. And man, when I started actually having sex, like later that year, again 3 years later, right, I was like, these thoughts came out, and the dial-up porn was happening then, and you know, I'd be watching, you know, whatever stuff, and I'd see these guys like choking these chicks or talking dirty, and I'd be like, oh my God, oh, that's the fucking craziest thing. And I thought then I was like fucked up because I liked that, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
It took me years to figure out that I was normal because of that.
Totally,
you know?
right? Yeah, I mean, okay, so my first sexual experience was, I was 13.
You motherfucker.
This is gonna sound like a bad cliche.
Good. I can't wait to hear it.
There's a trend here. Here's a trend. This is where it started. My girlfriend's mom was my first experience. And it was good. It was great. But I think she helped me break the mold because you know, I was freaked out about getting caught by her husband. I was freaked out because I'm sleeping with my girlfriend's mom. Like, all of this, like, fucking shit, right? But then I come to find out, he knew. It was his idea. He set it up. You know, yeah, totally, right? Swingers.
When did the daughter find out? When did your girlfriend find out?
That was a year later, and did not go over so well.
Yeah.
That was not so great. But
so,
you know,
so the real question: you never had sex with your girlfriend? You just fucked her mom.
Mom, yeah, her mom, and the girlfriend. We did, but dude, she taught me everything. She taught me how to get pussy. Fucking, she taught me. It was awesome, and she did. I think it was a way to keep me from sleeping with the daughter. It was just some weird, anyways. But so
that would work. And I think it did, right? Yeah.
Dude, she was smoking hot. Man. Anyway, so, but where was I? I just lost my train of thought completely.
Fucking the mother.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, sex. Yeah. So the thing was, from that experience, I recognized that monogamous relationships were going to work for me. I liked having multiple people in the room. I liked having more bodies in the room. I liked when we did her. Like, that was fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do you replicate that in high school? You know? Yeah. And, you know, and I was the bad boy. I was the long-haired skater, punker, you know, guy. And, you know, constantly flirting with anything that moved. And I was a bad kid. But it took me a long time to figure out relationships, right? It took me a long time to learn communication and how to ask for what I wanted properly. And I had all kinds of shame, you know, and guilt about, you know, Miss Kirchwell and like all that shit, Miss Kirchwell. And talking, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, there was all of these things I had shame and guilt around, and I don't do shame and guilt now. I don't do blame. Totally. I don't blame. It's just not my thing, dude. And I knew where I was going to go with this now. I remember making clones of me. the purpose with the way I designed the workshop is it comes from my men's circle in the Bay Area. And I've got one here now. But basically in the circle, we don't tell you what to do. You bring your shit to the circle and you leave it there. And you come to the circle, you got a problem, you share, and then we ask you, do you want help with that? It's up to you to choose if you want help with that. If you don't want help with that, great. You just want to share, get it out. You want to share? Cool. You want some help? We'll ask you probing questions. We'll ask you questions, and you figure it out. You solve your answer. And, you know, once you've got the answer, we ask you, so what do you want to do about it? Nothing. Or you want to take it on, right? So if you want to take it on, it's like, okay, what steps are you going to take it on? And then we ask you, how are you going to be accountable for that for yourself? Not for us, because you don't know it's a goddamn thing, you know? So you figure that out for yourself. And then once you know what you want to do and the steps you want to take and how you want to be accountable, and then we ask you, do you need to make any requests for help? You know? And if you do, cool, ask for help. Great, we'll help you. We're not going to mother you and baby you, right? So that mindset I've tried to bring into this room in a way that, look, you got the answers. You know how you want to be dominant. You know how you want to be sexually. You know what your moral standards are and your moral values are. Mine, they're way out there. And I know your moral standards may be different than mine. So instead of me imposing my value system on you, you tell me what yours is. And then within that frame, I'll help you. You know, within that frame, we can find out how you can be dominant. And we can find out where you are with your own sexuality and your own turn on. And we can help you acclimate to it and get to where you have a bigger box and a bigger box and a bigger box and a bigger box. That's what the dominant styles are all about. The dominant styles, you're able to try something that's scary and a stretch and a little kind of hard for you and play with that. And it's funny, man. Once you start playing with it and you start doing that thing with somebody, it gets easier. And then it's not so weird. It's not so fucked up. It's not so wrong. Now it's something that you kind of enjoy and you do now more naturally. And we just keep moving those thoughts through your archetypes so that you become from like, oh man, that thing was so fucking weird, I could never do it again, to, oh, I tried it one more time, and it actually wasn't so bad, to, I like doing it every once in a while, to, dude, I can't have sex or I can't play without doing that fucking thing, to, oh yeah, I used to do that all the time. I'm totally past that now. You know, so like there's a way to, you do the work, you acclimate that stuff, and you figure that stuff out for yourself. So I love doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, man, I really agree with you. One technical thing, is there any way you can move to your left a little bit more? Because your camera like switched during all this and it'll get all crazy.
I actually hit the mouse, and sometimes the mouse will do that.
It's all right. As long as you look good, as long as we can see it, that's what we care about. But okay, so you bring up something here. I'm sure you hear this a lot. I get a lot of guys who talk to me about sexual repression, like anti-porn stuff. I don't think that's the problem. Or when it comes to porn, I think that people need to express themselves, and I think the more that we lock ourselves up and get out of the action of sex, then we totally limit ourselves and come up with these bizarre, you know, whatever fantasies. And what it sounds like to me is you get guys to get in the action of sex, and in that action of sex, they somehow find a different part of themselves that they're allowed to feel comfortable with. Have you?
I work with them so there is no sex in the champagne room, but
yeah.
There is turn on, there is sensuality, there is sexuality in that. You know, there's your favorite dirty little secrets. You know, there's those things you haven't tried. You know, there's those things that you want to try, and I'm creating a space where it's safe for you to experiment with those things. And like, because, you know, we sometimes put something on a higher pedestal, and then once we try it, we're like, oh, damn, that wasn't really that great. Or, damn, I want more of that, right? So I give them a space where they can practice that stuff, and they can try these things, and they get to, you know, I mean, they don't normally get to work with, 20 girls on pulling hair or, choking or nipple pinching or nipple clamps or spanking their ass or tying them up or learning how to communicate in a sexual way. Like learning how to, tell me, how long did it take you to get okay with objectification?
Oh yeah, man. It took me a long time, and this is actually what I'm getting at, because what guys will do, and this is the fucked up thing, and there's not enough of an outlet for this with people, and you really got to have sex or a situation like you're describing in order to facilitate it. But guys like see this shit happen, they get these fantasies, and then they think that's sex, but that's not the turn on. That's not the arousal. That's not what makes their dick hard. That's not what makes the enjoyment of her liking it. Because, man, when she likes it, when a girl switches in that way, when a girl, man, when her mind changes, when she moves into that total sex mode, that's what fucking, that's the hottest fucking thing in the world.
That's the hot stuff, right? And so you got, it's the warm up, and then letting them just drop into their body. Like letting them drop into their body and then drop into the turn on. And then once that, it's like you've warmed up the car from fourth, now you're dropping to fifth. Oh, wait, there's a sixth gear? I didn't know it was a sixth gear. That shit's dynamite. And that's the thing, like, I teach them, with DS, Dom Submission, and with Kink, there's a lot of, high tension stuff you can do, impact play, spanking, paddling, flogging, that kind of stuff. The choking, the bondage, having someone tied up and then teasing them and like really getting them to that state. The endorphins kick in. And when endorphins kick in, totally. Whole other world. Yeah, right? Yeah. So when the endorphins kick in, it's a badass spot. The girls suddenly they drop into their energy and they can take more and they can demand more and they can get clearer and more carnal, and you're able to play deeper. And it's funny to watch the day too, because like Friday the girls are figuring this shit out, like figuring the space out just as much as the guys are. And it's funny, Saturday the groove happens, the women are in the groove, the guys are in the groove. Yeah, but Sunday it's funny. The girls show up, hot, sexy lingerie and heels. It almost invariably this is what happens, right? Like they're ready. We're going to get to this. We're going to do this. We're going deep today. We only got 6 hours. Let's do this.
Man, but like I've never done. I don't know much about dom stuff, even though I've done the whip shit and whatever. But but man, let me tell you, when you're involved in an orgy or a gangbang or whatever the fuck it is a different world. There you are. It is like it changes. I mean, it changes.
Completely.
There's no jealousy. Like jealousy doesn't exist. It's like such a societal bullshit, like guilt and shame. There's no guilt and shame. There's this feeling, and there's like, this urge, and there's this expression, and that's where you learn the different language of sex. Sex is a different language, and like you get it. Like when you're on the outside, when you're in the logical mind and you're behind a computer and you're watching sex happen or whatever the fuck it is, or you're thinking about it, or you're not going out and fucking talking to people and interacting with them, or you're not having the exchange, because you can do it socially too, but sex is a language on its own. When you are experiencing that different language, you get the clear distinction between, wait a minute, fucking a chick isn't, being nice. Fucking a chick isn't choking her. Fucking a chick is living and expressing my fucking sexual urge. And
my body, that body, our body, our energy, the connection we have, the energetic exchange that goes on, the breathing pattern, like all of it. Like you get the rhythm and the breathing, and it's magic in that moment. And like you can create ebb and flow and push and pull, and like that's the thing. That's the whole point of like. So when I left the world of kink, it's like I had all of this stuff. I didn't have words for it, And it's like what I learned from it is like edge play. Edge play. What does edge play mean? Like if you're a Joe average guy, you walk off the street, and you go into a dungeon, right? And I tell and they go in. What do they see? They see people in black, people in leather, and not always attractive, and tied up or laid over or something, and someone's got an implement and they're whacking away at them, and the girls are screaming, and people are making noise, and there's sweat, and there's noise and screaming and pain, and they're like, what the fuck is this shit? I don't want any of this. That does not look good to me. It's like, well, yeah, when you look at it that way, that doesn't look like fun. How do you sell that when, you know, the truth is what's going on there is there's a guy who's connected with his partner who is in total rapport with her, who is filling into her, who is reading her body, reading her breathing, reading her energy, and doing things to her body to take her out of her frontal lobe and into her subconscious and have her be just blissed out and riding the energetic endorphin ride, you know, scratching or flogging or spanking, or it's biting, or it's hands on, or feathers or oil or wax, or, you know, sex, you know, slow penetration, light touch, teasing, stimulating, teasing, pulling back, getting her up there. No, pulling back, edge play, back and forth energy. That thing, that's push-pull, and like playing with the scary stuff, because it's really that edges, right? Like out here, we all play over here. This is sex to me. It's kind of vanilla land. A little closer, a little more crazier stuff. Right here, right here, like this is that fucking edge. Right here, that's where the turn on is.
Yeah.
Like, it's scary. Dad's going to catch me. I don't want to get seen by the principal. You know, my boss, if he catches us doing this right now, you know, that energy, that fucking right there, that's hot. That's where you're bad. That's where the turn on is. If you can play there and then pull it back, bring it up, no, a little more. Oh. Dude, that ride, God.
You know, but
Girl,
see,
that shit.
It's so interesting because, like, let's say my edge play different than your edge play, to use your terminology, but there's a lot more. Well, I mean, I don't know. There's so many different faces to sexuality that we all have. But it's what's so interesting about hearing you talk about it is I get your true expression just from what you're talking about. You know, if you describing it of how you take somebody through and just the scene that you set, which I'm sure you have many, but just the description of that shows me a window to your personality of absolutely who you are. You know, and when you can communicate your sexuality, I believe our sex was first. You know, evolutionarily, all that sort of stuff. We didn't learn how to fucking talk. We learned how to fuck first. We learned how to we had that within us first, and that's our true expression. So our socializing and all those skills are based off of it. Now, in our world, in our society, we communicate logically, all that sort of stuff. But man, when you get in touch, when a man or a woman gets in touch with their sexuality, it's total liberation. And there might be some translation time because society's so like structured and all that shit. But
processing, adapting, like testing it. Is this really what's true for me? That shit. And, like once you recognize it's true for you, there's acclimating your environment to that. Because you know what? Like personally, I'm very transparent about my life. Like I don't hide a goddamn thing. You know, you know, there is history that stays in the box, but there's a reason it stays in the box. Yeah. But you know, predominantly 98% of my life is on the fucking table, and the reason is, I want people to know who I am. I am a guy that creates safe places, safe spaces for you to come and explore your sexuality. It may not always be with me. Actually, it may not even be with me. Maybe at one of my parties where you bring your people and they fuck in my front room. And it's cool because I made it okay. And oh, by the way, I brought you a drink while you're getting a blowjob. You know, what the fuck? You know, like, that's my gig. Like, I create safe containers. I make it safe to feel unsafe. I make it safe for you to explore those dirtier, scarier, naughtier places that are fun. It's fun, you know? And it's like, the more we can treat it like play and treat it like we did when we were kids in the playground, you know, where it was casual, it was silly, it was goofy, it was, you know, behavioral flexibility, man. That is the key. He with the most behavioral flexibility wins. Wins. If I, you know, be an ass around me. All right, be an ass. Be an ass over there. My space. I have the behavioral flexibility. It's my world. I will do what I want, how I want. If I want to walk around the house in a kilt, I'll walk around the house in a kilt. You know, if I'm going to be the guy who invites all my friends who from all different worlds into one space, and they're going, oh, wait, we don't share the space. No, it's safe here. And all of a sudden, what happens? They love it. They're all sharing. I didn't know you were part of this world. I didn't know this world. Well, I'm kind of this world. Oh, yeah, me too. It's like the more you create a safe container and make it be the guy who makes it behaviorally flexible for it to be okay, I make it okay for everybody. That's why there's ease in my space. People enjoy it. When I'm off, dude, it sucks for the world. When I'm in my head, it sucks for the world.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah. We're human, and that I hold it is that we're human, and you can be human, and we can be meeting somewhere in the middle, groovy. And that is a great way to play with everybody, guys and girls. You get the girls to come along and play on your ride. The guys respect you more because you're groovy with them. It's just creating a safe container for them to be how they're going to be. Like, you can be however you need to be with me, and I'm going to trust you. I want to trust you even if you're untrustworthy to others, because I want to trust you to be who you are right now. If you're showing me you're this, I know that's what you are. You know, I can trust you to be that. And the thing is, I always operate the same. So you're going to get consistency from me. And that's what I try and teach in the room. Be consistent. The more consistent you are, the more trust you build, the more integrity you're going to have, the more people are going to trust that, the more they're going to want to be a part of that. It's enticing. You know, I'm all about be your word, be on time, you know, don't lie, you know, don't bullshit, you know, just fucking fly by the, you know, seat of your pants, do it like a badass, you know, and if you fuck up, own it. Yeah, I fucked up, so what? I'm going to get up and do it again. That's the joy of skating. When I was a skater, man, you fucking fucked yourself up, right? That was a great lesson for me. It's like, all right, ate shit, broke my arm, big deal, get up, let's go and do it again.
You can do that when you're young, man. Jesus,
yeah.
It sucks
know,
when you get
right?
old. But okay, so man, you said like a lot of awesome stuff there, but
all tangential, right?
but like, how did you learn that? That the only people that I know that can implement, you know, theory into application, you know, like what you're talking about, some great things to live by, are people that have had times in their life where shit didn't go right. I mean, that's absolutely true for me. You know,
dude, I got kicked out of the house at 15, man. Disowned at 15. Kicked out of the church at 15.
So you grew up religious?
Oh yeah. Well, when I was very young, I thought I was white, and we lived in Texas. And then we left Texas when I was 9 to go to California, and I met my mom's side of the family because we left my dad. And my mom's side of the family are Hispanic. I had no clue. I did not know what Spanish was. And, you know, they were J-dubs, so Jehovah's Witnesses. And they were like that Catholic family, you know, where it's like eldest family member rules the iron fist. Yeah, that was what was going on. So
they must love you, man.
Oh, they hated me, dude. They hated me. They hated me because my dad was an abusive fuck, and that's the reason we left, right? So they hated me because I'm John Lee Litchenberg III. So same name, and I look like...
I actually have a similar story. My grandfather always, you know, and whatever, he had a lot of reason to, but he always disowned me because I have the middle name Addison, and that was his dad's name, and that was also his middle name, who beat the shit out of him, all that sort of stuff. He ran away from home when he was 15, but he would, you know, he had a lot of issues because he was, you know, grew up fucked up and didn't get past his shit. Man, if you do not get past your shit,
fuck you.
And it's funny because, like, you know, you say you grew up abusive household, you do this dominatrix or dominate, you do this whatever you call it, yeah. So,
Kink fetish.
So you do this stuff, but
oh, dude, I had to process that.
Yeah,
what? Process that, dude.
Yes.
Like, yeah. So like, okay, I grew up an abusive kid, you know, being abused as a child. At 9, go to California. From 9 to 15, well, actually 9 to 13, I like was fully in the church. Like I dove in feet first. I'm going to be a good J-dub, blah, blah, blah. I was going to get baptized and all this and that. And that went south because I'm a thinker. And I started questioning things. And I started asking pointed questions. Man. Yes, bad kid. And so from 13 to 15, I... introduced to a gang. So that's when John really went down the bad hole. Which is funny because from 13 to 15, as far as my mom was concerned, I cut my hair and I I was wearing clothes that she didn't quite understand, but then my orale vato started coming into my voice, you know. That didn't go very well. Kicked out of the church, disowned, all in one day.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like I got out of the gang by the seat of my pants.
Did you have to get jumped out?
What can I say publicly on the interwebs? There was a sudden de-escalation of the group over a 2-week period where they went from a large group to suddenly 3 of us living. So
they had a lot of enemies.
no, they had a lot of clusterfuck happen really fast.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So and then it became like, okay, look, you're the smart one, so go away, disappear, never come back. I can follow instructions. So I did, and it was kind of heartbreaking. And then I went home, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, And I came home to, oh, look, my family is all here. Everybody's here. What's going on? Why is the big table pulled out? Why is everybody sitting around? Why are the elders here? And it's like, uh-oh. And then like one by one, each of the cousins stand up and tell me, I disown you, I disown you, I disown you, I disown you. Like it was like just around the table to my aunt, my mom, my eldest aunt. And they're like, Eddie, do it, my mom. And she's like crying and blubbering, and she's like, I disown you. And then the elders approach me and they're like, we need to let you know that we are going to be disassociating you from the Kingdom Hall, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, fuck yeah, nah! You know, like I was aggro. And then I got sent to go live with my good little Christian cousin in Santa Cruz. And I get off the bus, and he wasn't a good little Christian.
That is such a change, man. You went,
yeah.
Wow. Oh, man. That's kind of cool. But like,
it was very cool. I got sent to Santa Cruz, and you know, my cousin, he's there, and he's gay, and this is my boyfriend Bob, and I'm like, cool. I did not know. And I moved in with him and 2 lipstick lesbians and a very butch lesbian couple and me. And they were at Art House. And, you know, I got introduced to one of my favorite molecules, and learned to surf, learned to skate, learned about my art. And that set me on the path of, okay, you're no longer a cokehead, violent person. Let's be a better human being.
See, but I think this is interesting. Like, in order for people to change, I mean, especially when you're working with guys and girls with sex, it hits at a core. Man, it is such a big thing. And there's more to human beings than that. But I love sex, and you love sex, and we can talk about it. So, but anyway, yeah. You need to be allowed to fuck up. You need to be allowed to make a mistake. And I think that's what's so like. This is cool because.
Yeah, you got to be safe for them.
You needed that safe container of, at that time, Santa Cruz, in order to experiment and be who you were. And what you realize, man, and it's just so crazy, we get stuck in these ruts, these fucking loops and repetitive whatever bullshit because we believe the distortion that's a reaction to a fucked up environment or fucked up culture, whatever the hell it is. And it's like, oh, I'm a cokehead violent gang member. Oh, I'm, you know, my father. I'm
exactly.
And you know, probably the reality of the matter is, I don't know what your relationship is or whatever, but your dad, you probably have things like him, but he could have been a good dude, you know?
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? You know, it's like,
here's the funny part. Okay, so all right, so Santa Cruz to 18, I go through this arc of constantly being moved, I move back in and get kicked out, and I go further and further away. So I moved to LA, San Francisco, Santa Monica, I go to Venice, I go to San Diego, I go to Sacramento. I'm like, as further and further away as I can. I get myself established, and then there's that, hello, or is officer so-and-so, is John in there? And, you know, cuff me up, take me back. And, so at 18, comes, and I decided to go find my pop. You know, I'm like, all right, it's been 9 years. 9 years is a long time. I'm sure he's changed. And so I started reaching out to him, and I come to find out, like, he tells me, yeah, no, I'm clean, sober, don't do drugs no more. I'm a good guy. You know, I'm not the crazy special forces guy from Vietnam. I promise I'm a good guy.
Wow.
And yeah, so I show up in town, and this is hilarious. So I get up off the Greyhound bus, right? And I've got my skateboard in one hand, my bag in the other. I'm standing there, and I'm like, it's Oklahoma, right? So there's a dirt patch.
That's a shitty ride, man.
Yeah, dirt patch across the side of the road, and a little blue telephone-looking thing with a little window that says Greyhound over it, and I'm like, this can't be right. All I see are trees for as far as I can see down the road. There's no way this is Claremore. Remember this town being bigger. I'm standing there like, oh my God, there's no phone. What am I going to do? Cops pull up. Whoop, whoop. And I'm like, oh shit. And they're like, you want them Litchenbergs? Nice. And I'm like, I have a blue mohawk. How the fuck do I look like a family? And they're like ripped jeans and a band shirt. And they're like, we don't want no trouble from your kind. And I'm like, oh God, promise, no trouble coming your way, sir. Do you know where my dad lives? Yeah, 5 miles down that road that way, turn on it. So I'm like, oh. So I skate, and I go find my dad's house. And I wound up, the first day, he's like, oh, let's go fishing. All right, cool. We go fishing, and he's all, here, want a beer? And he just told me that, he's clean and sober, right? So one person's sobriety, right? So by day 3...
He has a different interpretation of it.
Yeah. So by day 3, he's like, want a line? And I'm like, no, Dad, no. Because at that point, I was going straight edge. I had been like, straight edge for, but not like the hardcore asshole straight edge. I was like, all right, I've done it. I've partied. I've done all the acid and coke you could ever do. Let me help others have a good time, and I don't have to be tempted by it, but I can be in the same space and help them enjoy themselves. I'm like, Dad, my friends do it. They party. Go ahead. Drink your drink. Have your coke. Do whatever. And then like a month and a half later, I come home, from work, and he's got like beer cans as far as the eye can see on the ground, dead soldiers. And he's, wants to fight. And I'm like, Dad, don't do it, don't do it. He throws a punch. I block the punch. And he's like, I talk him down. He passes out. So I leave, go to work. 2 nights later, I come back, and we get in a knife fight.
Those are never fun and totally fucked up. What the fuck, man?
Right? So that happens. And I had this policy back then that I don't fight unless I'm bleeding. And I should never have mentioned it to him. So I come home, walking down the side of the house. He's barbecuing. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, nothing. Turns around, has a knife, and he lunges at me. I knock it out of his hand. He reaches behind him, and he pulls out this Bowie knife. And I'm like, that's a fucking knife, I'm like, and I never saw it, dude. I never saw it. He just went, and like right here, like just sliced me. Yeah, and I went like this, and I pulled my hand up, and I saw blood. And it was like a flashback moment, dude. Like all the screams, all of the John, don't, from my mom in my head, all the slaps, all the punches, all like seeing my baby brother thrown across the room, just went right there. And I dropped into a roll, pulled my knife out of my boot, and stuck him. And we got in a knife fight.
Man, so did he slash you or stab you?
He slashed me on the ribs. And
being stabbed with a Bowie knife would be...
No, yeah, dude. Yeah. So we fought. I woke up in the hospital. He woke up in the hospital. I found out that he had been on probation for a long time. So I had a leverage over him. So I told him, look, they want me to press charges. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. So I talked to him. Well, I'm talking to him, and I'm like, dude, I'm sitting in a wheelchair next to his bed. I'm like, so I hear that if I press charges, you go away for a very long time. So here's the deal. You can disappear and never come find us. My brothers, my mom, they're all off limits. If you ever come around again, there won't be a knife this time. You won't be standing. That's the end of that. Stay away. Can we agree to these terms? Great, good, goodbye. And that was that. That year, I met Olivia. And she helped me process that anger. And that was intense, dude. And
so how old were you when this happened? Like 22?
18.
18. So this, like, it happened immediately. As soon as you moved back with your pops, it got...
As soon as I left my dad, I went back to California, had a girlfriend in L.A., and then bam. Yeah, dude, that was a thing.
So in all of that,
yeah.
like, you've come with your own self. And one of the biggest things when people have, like, you know, crazy shit in their life, even patterns of shit in their life, it's always tough to go, well, wait a minute, that's not me. Where's the real me? Well, wait a minute, I'm used to doing this. I'm used to, you know, always being in debt. I'm used to always making a mistake, finding the wrong woman, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do this, but I want this.
Power. Words are power, man. So, like, recognizing the moment of choice, that was what everything me and Olivia did, was recognize the moment of choice and recognize that words are power. Can't, won't, shouldn't, supposed to, all those fucked up words that box you into a way of being that is.
So you started you started with NLP like a long time ago, like when you were 18, 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it wasn't NLP at the time. When I found NLP, it was like several years later. So what I found was. See, that's the thing, dude. The BDSM community is amazing. Okay? Like, I want to give the gifts of BDSM to the world without the world getting fucked up about it. You know, because when you think about it, like when I tell you kink or BDSM or a leather family, what's the first thing that pops in your mind?
The like, guy on the Radiohead video, the cartoon with the fat guy with the mask, and
yeah, like scary shit, like it's like unattractive shit, right? But the BDSM kink family, their thing is communication. Their thing is language. Like, it's all about communication, because like you can't do anything without first negotiating. Like, who, where in another place in society can you tell me where the first thing that happens between two people is you sit down and you get to know each other first? Like, I could walk into a dungeon anywhere in the USA, around the fucking world, with my toy bag. I walk in and I'll just announce, I'm here to play. People will walk up to me and go, cool, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm into this. Well, what are you into? I'm into this. Well, let's have a negotiation. So we'll sit down, we'll talk, and we'll get into each other's shit. Like, we'll find out what their turn-ons are, what the likes are, what they've done in the past, how they've done it, how they play with it. And we just get into it. Like, negotiate, like find out your desires, like get your boundaries, get your limits, know what's totally fucking off the table. And once I got a lay of the map of the land, I don't have to do the things you like. I can do what I like, and I can play with the things that you like, and I know not to play with the things you don't like, and I got all this space to fucking play in, right? So it's all about language. Your words are your power, and it's also about mind games, mind play, right? Like submissives, there's no two submissives that are the same. Submissives that like service. Well, what does service mean to you? Service means, you know, various different things to different people. Service in a household, service to the partner, service to an idea, you know, service to the greater good. Oh, I like doing menial tasks. I like sucking cock. My favorite thing is to be a sex toy. My favorite thing is I love cleaning houses while I'm dressed like, you know, some way, and you talk shit about me. You know, I like to be dressed in rubber and be a lipstick girl, and, you know, I want to be a hot turn-on buddy for you, but no, you can't touch me. But you can have me do things to this person, so I flirt with this. There's all kinds of shit. It's all words. It's all powerful words. And in the kink community, that's what they got going on. It's flabbergasting, you know, and like, so that's where I learned that stuff. I learned about my mind. I learned about what it means for me, what it means to be in service, what submission means to me, what power and authority means to me. And power and authority is a responsibility, you know. Dominance is a responsibility. I'm not just telling people what to do. I'm enticing them. I'm offering them something better than they have right now. And they are agreeing to go on my ride. You know, I am giving them choice that they weren't ready to have, you know. And a lot of people want to submit. I mean, we do this in our day-to-day life, man. People submit in their day-to-day life all the fucking time. Yeah. Think about it. You're out with your guys. Who makes the fucking decisions of where we're going to go tonight? Who makes the decision what bar we're going to go to? Who makes the decision what we're going to eat right now? You know, it's like, what are we going to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. Like, fuck that shit, dude. No, it's like, Ah, I got an idea. Let's do this. Yeah, that sounds great. Now, what just happened right there? Those guys just submitted to me and my fucking idea. Is it submission a bad thing? No, it's like, no. He had a better idea. He's leading. He's being more dominant. And what happens to you as far as a pecking order of you and your men? You got more respect. They look to you for leadership. And you can also go, I'm not making decisions right now. Someone else make a decision. What just happened there? You dominantly chose to make a decision. Like that kind of shit, like that's such great skill sets that so much of the average world doesn't get. And I want to bring it to them. I want them to see these skills. I want them to get these tools because, you know, words are fucking power, man. We were getting to that thing before.
Yeah, man, but you actually bring up something interesting. I think we submit due to ambiguity and lack of choice or not knowing what the fuck we want. And so it's not even a choice. It's horrible, man. And when you bring up, and let's bring it back to sex, because that's choice is what makes sex good. Like you're talking about all this crazy stuff. And, you know, again, I don't know your world, but it sounds awesomely fascinating. I'm like totally ready to hop on a plane and sign up and fucking, you know, be a pro at nipple clamps so I don't go. But but no, man, like when you are, you know, when you're with a girl or and you're choking her or you're slapping her or whatever, or spitting on each other, whatever crazy shit, and you're fucking
hitting her down, holding her in place, like just looking deeply in her eyes and teasing and taunting her, like doing whatever. Because that's the thing, dominance is all variations of it. Like it's from 0 to 10, dude. There's a whole range of play you can work with and move back and forth. But anyways, your question is?
No, well, I was just making a statement. When she doesn't decide that she likes it, or you don't decide that you like it, it's a terrible experience.
It's a nerve.
If that does not happen, it's like not connection. What am I doing? This is bad.
Yeah,
it's such a difference.
It's that turn on. Like you're at the bar, right? You're dancing with the girl. It's hot, it's sexy, it's fun, and there's a transition from the bar to home, right? So you've got to keep that energy going. So you've got to keep teasing and titillating her, you know, being seductive with her. Yeah. And then when you get to the house, you got to keep moving it forward and escalating and keeping that play going. Well, if you don't do that, if you just, like, you're all hot and sexy at the bar, and you get in the car, and you guys kind of talk and fuck around, and you get off topic, and you're no longer focusing on the sex, you're getting more intimate, but you're not spiking the sexual play, the attention goes from here to over here, and the turn-on drops over here, and keeps dropping, but you got great rapport, and then you get inside the house, and like, where'd the turn-on go? Where is the turn-on?
Yeah.
Oh, now
totally,
she's questioning everything. She's like, what am I doing here? I feel weird. Oh, my God, I don't want to be a slut. You know, it's like, no, yeah, you do, and yes, we do, and let's play. But,
yeah, man, if you got her pussy wet and then you don't know what to do, if you got it wet in the bar, and then when you get to a place where, you like, sex is a possibility, or it's a possibility anywhere, and you fuck that up, it's like an insult, shockwave, earthquake, horrible thing to her sexuality.
To her sexuality. Oh, not like that. Like, dude, okay, so this is like the fucker of it, right? So, like, for me, like, even if they go ahead and go through the motions, like they have sex because they both haven't had sex in a while, you know, that's shitty sex. That's
horrible. It's horrible.
Fucking horrible, right? And I'm like, guys, come on, you can do better than that, right? Yes. And you know, there's a factor of, like, you know, can they fuck it up for the other person, where, like, she went ahead and went through it, and now she's like, oh, why? I feel bad about myself. I feel ashamed about myself. I feel guilty about myself. I feel good about that. And now I'm walking away a broken human. Like, dude, that's fucked up. It's the reason I got into teaching. It's like, because look, there's guys that I've heard stories and I've helped them with it. Like, yeah, I tied this girl up. She got scared and freaked out. Now she never wants to do it again. And she says, I think I broke my toy. I'm like, don't break your toys, man. It's like, you know, I want them to have the skills and the tools and the practice so that when they do take it to real life, that girl has a fun night. Even if it's not perfect, she feels safe. She feels turned on. She feels like she could have trusted you, and she can even recognize that you were fucking up and be okay with it and go home feeling good about it, and not go home with this is not for me. I don't ever want to do it again. I can't believe this guy had to be tied up. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, you just wrecked her. You ruined her for the rest of us. And now I gotta fix that girl. Are you fucking kidding me? That's work I don't want to have to do.
Yeah, and the truth is,
I will do it.
If you mess it up, and it gets messed up in a bad way, it takes like 10 good experiences to bring that back, you know? It's because it's like there's so much doubt wrapped up in it. It's like, well, that was good, but wait a minute, you know, it just takes...
Oh, yeah. What's my mom going to think? What's my family going to think? My girls, I can't tell my girls. It's like, what are you talking about? No, no. I have a great experience. Oh, it was amazing. Oh, my God, I got to tell my girls about this. Oh, my God, Mom. Well, she wouldn't understand, but you know what? She liked the story, so let me tell her, you know, like that kind of shit. Like, you want to create that out there. And that's, yeah, more of that, please.
So what is your dream culture and business? And because you're a guy that loves to teach, you love sex, you love what you do, but then you got to learn all this like business shit that comes into play. What's that vision, man? You know, what does that look like? Not necessarily the business, but your impact on people.
My impact? God. So here's what I want. I'll start with what I don't want, and I'll wrap it with what I absolutely want. Because saying what you don't want doesn't get you what you want. But I have the experience in the past of a lot of friends in the Bay Area that are coaches, that you know, are life coaches or sex.
It sounds like we know the same people, man.
Yeah, totally, right? and it's like they become gurus,
yeah.
Right? They become this fucking guru. And then there's a disconnect between them and their client. Mm-hmm. You know, now it's about me and my system. And you know, you'll get it, or you can always take another class,
right.
Take more classes, you know. And I'm like, no. If you only take one class from me, and you get the change that you want, I'm doing my job right. See, it's not about me. Like the workshop's called Erotic Dominance. My name's not anywhere on it. You know, the website's Dominance 101. The other website's Erotic Dominance. Do you see my name on that shit? No. You see my face on it. It's not about me. It's about them, and I want them to figure out their styles, their ways of playing. And I want their ways of playing to be able to make it for them to be okay. Because ultimately, it's about acceptance. Ultimately. Like, if you can accept yourself, and you can accept your sexuality and your turn on, and the critical point, if you can accept theirs, if you can accept their turn on, if you can accept their play, if you can have it okay for their stuff. Because, dude, I play with people that are into shit that I'm not into. And when I'm negotiating with them, and they tell me they're into that, I'm like, wow, really? That's cool. Not my thing, but tell me more. Tell me why that's important to you. Tell me what about that you're turned on by.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask is because maybe I can give them something similar or close to or play next to that edge of that thing, and they'll get spiked and turned on by that.
Well, because also... Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
By accepting them, though, by not making them wrong for that thing, I have just earned a shit ton of trust and integrity and, you know, honor with them, which are, in my world, high value. You know, because...
Man, this is awesome. I like this. And this discussion I can't have with many people because people get all, like, fucked up about it. But, man, when it comes to... When it comes to sex, acceptance is so necessary because it's such a hot topic that people get fucking all wrapped up into the rejection. And so one of the rules with TSL is that there's no rules. There's no rule. Like, there's basically 5 things that we have for sexual health, and there's suggestions. But one of the main ones and one of the biggest turnoffs for me and what we do with the sexual life is that there can't be a rule on sexuality. Sexuality is an expression. That could turn into all sorts of different shit that I don't know, right? But and so that could be anything. I don't give a shit. I'll listen to you about it. Now, if it's causing harm to somebody or there's no decision, then it's not sexuality. Like, sex is an exchange. So
it's totally energetic interaction.
So
and that's Kink. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, if there's, you know, let's say a violent act, it doesn't mean that it's violent. Violent means there's no communication. Like,
yeah,
you know,
that's the thing for me. There's two kinds of dominance out there. There's consensual, there's non-consensual, and I'm not about non-consensual. Like, that non-consensual shit, that is a great way to piss me off. Like, non-consensual sucks because that's a violation of someone else. It's a violation of a human. And those scars don't go away easily. You know? And it's like consensual play, consensual dominance, consensual play. And consent does not necessarily always mean them saying yes. Consent is energetic consensual. It is physical consensual. And it's getting the yes, small to large, you know, from small hoop to big hoop, and leading them. And if they come up to a big hoop and it's too much for them, go back to the other hoop where they were able to play, or a couple back even further than that so they feel safe, and bring them back up. I mean, that consensual, and don't make them wrong because that was a bad thing for them in the moment. It is okay that was like that. And, you know, and I use the word love a lot. Like, love them there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, love them in that place where they didn't feel safe, and have them feel safe, and hold them as whole, not broken. And then they'll go from a tight to a loose. They'll be a tight person, tight in their chest, tight energy to, okay, all right, yeah, let's go there.
Yeah, and when
you just did, man, you healed that.
When you see that look in someone's face, that's the hottest thing in the world. The hot, like the illusion that I thought, and I still think, you know, a hot body's a hot body, hot ass, beautiful face, all that. That's great, man. That's supposed to inspire us, but that inspires us with 1 point of the like sexual urge. When it connects, when it's rapport, I care about them, they care about me, and we're exchanging, and then there's turn on involved, and then I see that face change, that release, and then it spins, and then it has to turn into something else. That is the hottest thing in the world, and that's what people don't do. You know, when I hear guys talk about sex that is without that, it's just like, man, you're missing out. You know,
you're just masturbating. You're masturbating with another body. That's really it.
Totally.
And for me, and it's also dismissive to them and dismissive to you. And don't get me wrong, I've masturbated with plenty of people, one night stands galore, but I've changed the way I operate. Like, now I operate from the place of, you know, the safe container. I'm going to beat this horse, right? So, like, for me, I operate from wherever I enter is my domain, right? Sometimes the space that I hold is right here. Sometimes the space I hold is the entire house. Sometimes the space I hold is the entire fucking city. When I'm in a club, it could be the
fucking city, motherfucker.
Yeah, right? The whole fucking, this is my city, bitch, right? Mine, raw.
Yeah.
I'm king, motherfucker. Yeah, but because I operate that way, this is a tangent, and I'm coming back to that.
Sure, go for it.
Polyamory. I don't advocate and promote polyamory or open or poly or swinger. I advocate all of it, but polyamory means multiple loves, right? And one of the best ways I help people understand what polyamory is okay. Do you love your mom? Do you?
Yeah.
Do you love your dad?
Yeah.
Do you love your brothers or sisters?
Yeah, just one brother.
Okay. Do you love your cousins?
Yeah.
Do you love your aunts?
Yes.
Do you love your friends?
Yeah.
Do you have some teachers you love?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Do you have some favorite people on the planet that you love?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So that love, is that not real?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
It's totally real, right? So you love them, and you love them all varying ways and at different depths, right? Polyamory is the same thing. The idea is you have enough love to give that you can love anyone and everyone, right? And you can love them at different levels. It's like 31 flavors of ice cream. So for me, when I'm in the club, I own the room, I own the space, I'm loving this space. This is mine. These are my fucking people here, right? These are my partiers. These are my DJs, my fucking bartenders, my wait staff, my managers at my place. This is mine. I love them. And they feel it. And they feel that love. They feel that energy, my enthusiasm for them. And because they feel that enthusiasm for them, it's attractive, right? And they feel safe. And they feel, because I'm curious about them, genuinely curious about them, and genuinely interested in them. They suddenly, like you know that bar, that wait girl, you know, the girl who's running by tables real fast, doesn't want to fucking stop, and like, I stop her, and I put my attention on her, and I love her, and you're mine. She's suddenly like, oh, what? Oh, hi. Can I help you? I'm like, yeah. When you're done, could you come back here? We need some service. I don't know who's. Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, holding that space, holding that container, holding it safe. Like I get she's got a job, she's got shit to do, and I want my way. You know, shit, yeah, she wants to take care of me. Shit, yeah, she wants to be in service to me. Shit, yeah, she wants to make me feel good, and she wants my cock happy. Fuck yes. So she's gonna go and do all the things that she needs to do and get back to me and like, oh, I'm here. How can I help you? And that generating that everywhere I go. Sometimes I don't got the energy for it, so I bring it in. It's right here, me and my wife. Other times it's me and my friends. Other times it's the whole fucking room. So creating that energy, that safe container, creating that love, sharing that space, it's dominant. I have the most behavioral flexibility. You know, I have the ability to adapt to whatever I need to adapt to and make it okay. And this is teachable.
Sure. Well, man, I think that's one of the most important things that guys will talk to me about, a lot of social dynamic stuff and, you know, how to do whatever. And the main thing you can do, man, is do what you like, be in places that you like, and be a part of that culture. Don't try and fight it. Like, stop trying to own it in a way that you're detached from it. If you can integrate with it and become it, you can do so much and have such a different experience. And then you don't have to do anything. Then you don't have to do the secret trick, you know, of how to talk to somebody. You can express and then tweak those expressions. You know, you might need some help with it. Then you can express. Man, it's fucking awesome. We're going a while, and it just sounds like we just need to do a bunch of podcasts together. But you bring up something called negotiation, and how you talk about it is different how other people talk about it. For instance, I will talk to a lot of people who come from a logical mindset with sex, whether they're creating a law or of certain like sex group. Maybe it might be like a anti-sex group or a sex group that has certain rules. They will always bring up this idea of negotiation. Well, you need to talk about it, and we should talk about it first. And I'm like, man, sex is a fucking urge. People aren't going to sit down and fucking talk about it, right? But when you're talking about negotiation, and, you know, I get it that you're coming from a different angle. What is the difference between that? Because it sounds like you're coming from a culture that is already agreeing that sex is openness, and then you can talk about it. Whereas I think what these people are saying, like, you'll hear a lot of like rape culture stuff, and they'll say, well, people need to talk about sex. It's like, man, if a fucking teenage girl and a teenage guy are together, stuff happens. Like, you can't,
there's impulsive chemical urges happening.
If you tell them to sit down and talk about it and write down the pros and cons, one of them is going to break, man. It's most likely it's going to be the girl, because fuck. Women, like, at that age, have been sexually frustrated longer than men, because they go through puberty quicker.
And they're more mentally ready for it, and their bodies have been ready for it. And like guys are just like, oh, I gotta do it. Oh my God, it's hard. What do I do with this thing? You know?
But so when you talk about negotiation, what makes that work? Like, what's the difference between? And it doesn't have to just be that voicing, but you know, with politics or whatever, when they talk about sex and regulating sex, it fucks it all up. What's that difference of how you guys negotiate and how they're?
Well, you hit on it right off the bat. From the BDSM community or the kink community. The frame is, it's already okay. Like, there are gay people in the community. You know, like, we have the gay, lesbian, transgender, you know, bi communities, and they are a part of this. And because they're such a part of this, there's really no fucking room for you to be wonky about it. Like, it's like, look, yeah, some people like this and some people like that. So you immediately come from a space of sex is good, sex is okay. Sex is, you know, this space right here where we play deep in the pool over here. So we don't have time for you to process your bullshit. If you haven't got that handled, you better get the handle before you start talking. I mean, there's kind of a frame of it's already okay. It's already good. We know it's okay, and it's expected that you're going to talk to us about it. So it's like, you know, I go to the dungeon, sit down with a girl. Like, the first thing I'm going to ask her is like, so what turns you on? Where, you know, I start getting into her turn-ons. I start getting into her likes. I get very, very curious. I mean, curiosity is your best friend. And playful curiosity and accepting curiosity, where you're accepting them for who they are and appreciation of them for who they are. And there is no make wrong. Like, you know, I've played with lesbians many a time and, you know, tied them up, had them on a flogger, you know, had them on a cross and flogging them or whatever, you know, and there's, yeah, I'm turned on, and yeah, she's turned on, but she's turned on for different reasons. And she may not be attracted to me, but she's having fun. And so I'm giving her the gift of her body, and I'm giving her the gift of sensation. And she's getting, you know, she's giving me the gift of being able to have an outlet for that. And so with negotiation in this world, it's already a frame. Oh, actually, you know, something we have to talk about, negotiation. So remind me, safe words. So the thing about negotiation, though, to make it clear, is like, so taking from that world out to the rest of the world, I immediately get curious, and I also immediately hold the frame of you're safe to talk to me. Anything you say here is safe. It's confidential. You don't have to worry about me sharing it. Everything that you want to bring to me, bring to me. I'm a sponge. Let me soak it all up. Let me not only soak it all up, let me get underneath it. Let me ask you why it's important to you. What does having that do for you? You know, and if having that does that for you, what do you get from that? And, you know, NLP suddenly kicks in, you know, where you start getting curiouser and curiouser. So you, like, the turn-on's here, and you understand it's a turn-on, but underneath that turn-on, there's a reason that turn-on is important, and underneath, and that importance means there's a goodie here, and this goodie is really what they want. It's not this, they want this. So when you figure out what that is down there, that's the good shit. You know, that's where they get, like, hot. And so you keep negotiating and find out what their edges are. And you find out, and you do it in a sexy way. You know, talk to them dirty. Talk to them about what, you know, and ask them, like, pointed, tough questions, but do it playfully. Do it in a way that it's okay. You're making it okay by asking it. And then the comfort level naturally happens because, A, you're comfortable talking about it. So if you're comfortable talking about it, well, I should be comfortable talking about it too. Well, I guess I'll be comfortable talking about it. Okay, I'll share this thing with you. And I'm not going to share everything with you because it's a little scary to share with you. Oh, well, I guess it's okay to share that. Oh, you feel, oh, that's okay. You're not wrong with that? Okay, cool. Well, maybe I'll share a little more with you. Oh, wow, you want to know about that? Ooh, oh, but you've done something like that too? Okay, well, tell me what you've done. Oh, well, let me tell you what I did. You know, you know, you see how this push-pull happens? And you do that in negotiation. And negotiation, you don't tell them I'm going to negotiate with you, because that's just so clinical and boring. And, oh, let's have some negotiation. No, it's like, no, let me get curious about your turn-ons. Let me get curious about what, you know, what funky, crazy sexual thing you've done or thought about doing, or what's that one thing you've never done, or what's that one thing you would never, you know, if no one was around to watch.
That's what you need to start with.
And you couldn't get caught. What might you be interested in trying? Now, if you have the right guy, of course, he had to be the right guy. Maybe not me, but the right guy. You know, that kind of shit. Negotiation. That fun, playful, sexy dig.
So it comes from openness, rather, whereas the other one comes from, like, control or restriction or something like that.
Like with the world of kink, it's not control, it's restriction. It's
no, I meant the, like, societal, judgmental.
Societal view, yeah. Society, because there's all kinds of stuff, like, you know, slut shaming and guilting around, you know, sexuality, whether you're gay or you're bi. Like, there's a lot of shaming around bisexuality, and, you know, like, just make wrong in general. And it's like, whoa, man, dude, do you recognize just the offhanded, flippant way you said that? Just shut that person down. I guess you did notice that. Your loss. You know, that's the whole thing. So what, on my website, Dominance 101, if they go to it, they're going to get the 3 pillars of dominance, right? And so the first pillar of dominance is knowing what you want. Second pillar of dominance is filling into your partner. Well, filling into your partner is critical to social skills. You know, you got to be able to, you know, what's going on behind their eyes, what's going on with their breath, what's going on with their skin, what's going on with their body, like, how are they holding their body, what's their posture like? You know, what, you know, what color is their skin? Has the eyes dilated? You know, what's their breathing like? What's the, you know, what are they saying? What are they not saying? You know, What's their energy feel like? And then you take all of that and you map all of that, and you correlate that, and you label it temporarily. You go, oh, well, all of this looks like turn on, or all this looks like fear, or all this looks like, and then you test it, and you test it, and you test it. And once you've got enough tests, you go, okay, well, I can clearly tell by this reaction that that's turn on, or that's fear, or that's intimidation. And so I know what not to do and what to do. And so filling into them is empathy. Filling into them is being conscientious of them, and also leading and push, pull, test, test. And that filling into your partner is so critical to negotiation. And it's a great way to practice it. And we do it. We all do it. Like, dude, tell me, like, if your woman walked in right now with your back to the door and she were in a bad mood, would you have to turn around and know she's in a bad mood?
I would know.
No. You would fucking know, wouldn't you? And it would be just the way she turned the knob and opened the door. It would be the way she stepped in. It would be the breath. It would be the energy coming from her. And you would know it. Why? Because you have empathy, right? You have the ability to feel into your partner. It's a practiced experience. We all have it. We've got that muscle. We just need to fucking practice using it. You do it at work. You do it with your friends. You know your friends' moods. The problem is we don't take it a step further. We don't take it with everybody. Well, people in the past, I do it. But, you know, most people have not been doing it. And my goal is to get people to do that, because the more you are able to feel into the people around you, empathize, get what's going on with them, dude, come on, man. You can navigate the world that way.
That's
you
sex.
Can control space. Yeah, sex. Sex, dude. You could pace the sex. You can get her up to her orgasm and pull her back, and up to her orgasm, pull her back, and up to her orgasm and pull her back, and then boom! Yeah, it's like, that's the shit.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Awesome. No, that's great stuff. Great stuff. What's the third pillar? Or did I miss it?
Be willing to go further than they are.
I like it.
So when I say be willing to go further than they are, you know, there's this line, right? Like, they don't think you're going to go past it. No, be ready to go past it. Be ready to go past that line, and suddenly they've got a whole new level of respect for you, and a whole new, like, oh shit moments. Like, oh, he will go there. Okay, well, maybe I will. So, dude, when I met the pickup community, I didn't know the word shit test. I didn't know what that meant. You don't got to put up with that shit. That doesn't happen in my world. Shit tests don't happen over here, because I'm willing to go further than they are. I'm willing to hold it. Oh, you want to be a bitch? Okay, be a bitch. Now, is that getting you the goodies you want? Did you get what you want from that? Oh, no, you didn't. Why? Because I'm going over here. This is where the good shit is. No. Come over here. Stop being... Shh. You know, dude, like, come here. It's like putting a horse in a trailer. Like, it's going to happen. The horse may not know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen. You're going here. You're going in the trailer. You might not want to go in the trailer, but that's happening. You know, you want to go in the trailer. We got to go. You want to go. We're going to go. But we're not playing this game. So that's the other thing. I don't put up with bullshit. Like, topping from the bottom and all this other shit. Anyway. Did I give you enough tangents?
No, it's good stuff, man. It's fucking great. Man, I just know for time, everybody always complains, man, keep them under an hour and 40 minutes. But
Are we?
It's awesome stuff. No, man, it's awesome. Like, and it's my language. I do it. I really like it. But yeah, man, let's wrap it up. Any final words?
Go to Domus101.com. Come to the workshop, man. You guys are going to have a great time.
And you're doing them all the time, all over the world.
So the next one's April 11th through 13th, and that's a couple weeks away, or a week and 6 days away. And I'm planning to do one in July, and then I'm going to either to Norway or Germany, somewhere in Europe, to do a couple. Then I'm coming back to do another one, and then the plan is to go to Australia in the fall. If I don't go to Norway or Europe, I'm planning to go to Toronto. So it's kind of like one or the other. Someone needs to hammer out someone's got to make a decision first. I'm going somewhere. So whoever bites on first, that's where I'm going.
Do you know what part of Australia?
Not yet. I've got a girl down there we've been talking about negotiating. She's she does porn. She has a production company. She's blowing up down there, and she's offered to help put on workshops down there. So we'll see. Yeah, Melbourne, perhaps Sydney. Yeah,
yeah. I know people there.
Oh, really?
That would yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and actually, Melbourne has oh man, what is it? Shit. It would be great to get involved in this. I forget the name of it, but it's like the celebrating sexuality. They have a festival. Nice. It just happened a couple months ago, or maybe like a month ago. But if you integrated with some of those guys, it's actually a girl who created it.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Food
Let's
for
connect
thought.
some more, man. Let's do some more of this.
Yeah. Cool.
Right
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Sweet. Take care.